The UN hoped to raise $3.85 billion in aid for Yemen, the world's worst humanitarian crisis. But by the end of the virtual conference, member nations had only pledged for $1.7 billion. Secretary General Antonio Guterres called the amount disappointing and said it wasn't enough to prevent a large-scale famine there.
Today, reducing aid is a death sentence for entire families. With the war raging, Yemen's children are paying the price.
Last year, significant shortfalls in fundraising led to the closure and scaling back of several aid programs in the war-torn country. And with the coronavirus pandemic, the need for international support is greater than ever. According to the United Nations, the conflict has caused the world's worst humanitarian crisis. More than 24 million people, including 12 million children, are in need of humanitarian aid. 80% of population is suffering due to a lack of sanitation, clean water and nutrition. More than 60% of families have no source of income. Food shortages have caused acute hunger, which could worsen this year. The conflict has displaced around 4 million Yemenis. Many have been forced to move several times and find shelter in areas where fighting prevents aid from reaching them. The UN also says only half of Yemenis' health facilities are functioning, with many health workers going without pay. The hospitals and clinics that remain open lack basic supplies like gloves, masks and oxygen. In previous years, the UN managed to raise more funds to counter the effects of famine in Yemen. But since the coronavirus pandemic began, member states have been donating about half of what they've been before. This year's top donors are Saudi Arabia, Germany and United Arab Emirates.
More than 20 million Yemenis need humanitarian assistance and protection, with women and children among the hardest hit.
Saudi Arabia is leading the coalition against Houthi militia in Yemen. But the kingdom will not receive US support for its offensive after the Biden administration swiftly changed US foreign policy in the conflict. In an effort to end the crisis, the US has called Houthis to come to the negotiation table.
The Saudis and the Republic of Yemen government are committed and eager to find a solution to the conflict. We call on the Houthis to match this commitment. The necessary first step is to stop their offensive against Marib, a city where 1 million internally displaced people live.
Though it's still unclear whether these international efforts will be able to slow the crisis. Time is running out for millions of Yemenis in need of assistance. Muttalib Erdogan, TRT World.